Hello, what is up? Welcome to Flow with the Grow. I'm your host, Sophia, and this is a podcast where I'm sharing my journey as the weeks and days and months go on, all things health, fitness, all things wellness, and all things self-development, as well as have it be a podcast that will grow you in some way and to help you see and find the joy in your journey. More of, I guess you could say, an optimistic view of challenges and setbacks and the downs of life, as well as celebrating the highs. And I hope that this podcast and all of these episodes can be just that, either a tip or something that inspires you, that resonates with you, that you can find relatable. So welcome. If this is your first time, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you. And if you've been here for a while or since day one, I also appreciate you. I also wanted to take a moment to share something that I started that's kind of like a membership portal, you could say. It's called Patreon. The website is www.patreon.com/flowwiththegrow. So that's www.patreon.com/FLOWWITHTHEGROW. Flow with the Grow. Currently, I have only 3 tiers, and in the future, I hope to and plan to add more tiers. Each tier has certain bonus content, whether it's a Facebook group or bonus episodes, bonus video or audio episodes. My mini-sodes will also be included in this, shorter type episodes. And then to be fully transparent, I do have a tier that is for extra love and support. I do this podcast by myself and I invest into it every single month. So a goal that I have is not only to provide bonus content and things that will help you in your journey, but also to help this podcast be supported financially. To first just have it be break even, and then eventually to have it be a source of income for me, for a little bit at least. And I'm really excited because I have a plan. I have plans in the future to create and add more tiers with a lot more stuff and a lot more stuff that will be of value to you. But I just wanted to get it rolling, so I only started with 3 tiers. And each is a certain amount per month. So tier 1 is $1 a month, tier 2 is $5 a month, and tier 3 is $10 a month. So feel free to, and I encourage you to go check that out. Patreon.com/flowwiththegrow. Okay, I'm going to share a little update, and this update will also be related to the episode for today. And the topic is going to be tips or tactics or things that you can do while being on an airplane if you are someone who you fear being in a plane. Maybe you have some anxiety about being in a plane. Maybe you have had, like me, a horrifying experience and there's a little bit of PTSD there. Whatever that may be, these tips are for you. And maybe they can be for you even if you don't have that fear, but you want to, maybe you just haven't considered doing any of these before. So I'm going to share my experience that I had in the past, which I've shared before on the podcast, but I'm going to just go into that briefly and kind of where I'm at now with that and things that have helped me to relax and be a bit more calm and take my focus from all worst case scenarios on an airplane to something that is going to be a bit more not fearful. Unfearful? It's probably not even a word. So, okay. The time of this being released, it is the week of, or the week before, the Tuesday before Christmas. So I just hope that you have a happy holidays. You've been treating yourself to some you time. I know that during the holidays, it can be stressful. Yes, it can be joyful, and it is a joyful time. It's time for family and maybe friends and to spread and share joy. But also I recognize that it can be stressful. Maybe you have a family and there's that financial stress and burden of not being able to buy gifts. Maybe you just have all the things that you need to do for Christmas parties and hosting a party and you are just busy, go. Maybe you've lost a loved one around this time. Maybe, like me, are traveling a lot during the holidays and you're out of that routine, and it's okay to be out of that routine. Personally, I've been out of my routine. I've been traveling and gone for like a month-ish probably, and it's safe to say that I don't have a routine. I like routine, and I've just really had to be aware of that and accept that and go into each day saying, okay, I'm just gonna take this day by day, moment by moment, roll with the punches. And that mindset has really helped me to not feel bad about not being in a routine, to not feel bad about not getting my workout in, meaning like my strength training, my lifting workout, and to maybe go off track with my eating a bit. I have not been eating the most nourishing-based foods, and that's okay. I have grown in where I'm at with during the holidays with past I don't even know how to say it, but like binging and restricting and having a mindset of, well, it's only the holidays, so I'm going to go all out and then wait till January, and just a horrible cycle. So I've been better with that, and I'm just taking this holiday season day by day, recognizing and knowing that every day is going to look a little different than if I'm just in a normal routine. So again, I hope that you can take some time for yourself, some self-care, whatever that means for you. Me and my girlfriend Kiana will be traveling again to Minnesota to see her dad or her dad's side of the family. I believe that's what we're doing. And then also for New Year's, going to her mom's, and that's also in Minnesota. So we will also be on the road a lot. And I just got back from a trip in Florida. My grandma lives in Georgia, and because of COVID last year, I had a voucher that I had to use before January. I think it was like January 20th about, but I had to use this voucher before then because last year and because of COVID, we didn't go on our big family trip that we do every year. And so we all had vouchers and we all used them at different times or didn't use them. And so my grandma reached out asking when I wanted to use it and saying that she was going to be with her husband in Florida at Universal Studios, Islands of Adventure, and that there would be a lot more to do if I wanted to come. So again, fully knowing that I had just gotten back from a road trip and then also was in Minnesota for a week, and then I'd be back not even a day. So I was in Minnesota with Kiana because she had work there. We drove back Sunday from Minnesota, which is about 3.5 hours, a little more than that maybe. And then I had to catch a flight that night in Omaha, which is, so if you don't know, I'm in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and where I was at was about 3.5 hours away from Sioux Falls. So we drove about 3.5 hours to Sioux Falls. I quickly packed and hung out for a little bit, and then I had to drive an additional 3.5 hours to Omaha, and I didn't stay the night, but I went to my uncle's, parked my car, and he gave me a ride to the airport to catch a flight that night at 7 p.m. So that has, just a lot of go. And so got into Florida pretty late, and I was there Sunday night through Thursday morning. So my flight flew out super early last Thursday. I had to get up at like 3:45 a.m. to catch my flight because we had to be there 2 hours early. And normally they say 2 hours early for an airplane. And like in Sioux Falls, maybe Omaha, you don't have to be there 2 hours early. Like I think that you can catch your flight even if it's less than that. But holy shit, I'm so glad that we went that early because it was busy. Waiting in line for the check-in, and then also security was pretty quick. But I didn't have much time waiting at my gate before it took off, before we boarded. And also, I didn't know this, but in Florida, the gate that I had to go to was actually like 3 or 4 gates in one. And so I saw just one of the numbers, one of the gates, and I just kept going. I was booking it to my gate, and some lady was like, ma'am, and she came over to me and asked me where my gate was, and I told her the number, and she explained to me that all of the gates are like in one spot. She's like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I stopped you. So yeah, I was very appreciative of that. That was just a little side story there. Going back to my flight from Omaha, I must include this. So it was in the evening time. Cool, whatever, it was fine. Got into the plane. I was already freaking out because I just always get nervous now when I'm on the plane. I used to love flying, but because of an experience I had a few years ago, it's been a little different. I am a bit more nervous. I don't know if I would say anxious, like if it's anxiety. I just get fearful and I think of worst case scenario. So I was already kind of freaking out and in my head about that. And when we were taking off, and that was fine. We were in the air. That was fine. I was listening to music. Most of the time, I did a couple podcasts, but I didn't have any water, and I was really thirsty. And I forgot. So when I first went into the plane, I had my Flow with the Grow sweatshirt, which also I'm going to give an update on that in a moment. But I walked on, and the guy there said something at first. I couldn't understand what he said because of masks. And so I asked again, and he just was reading my sweatshirt, Flow with the Grow podcast. And I was like, oh yeah, it's my podcast. And he was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to check that out. I like looking up new podcasts because he asked me what it was about. And he was just a very kind human. And he put a smile on my face. I think he said something funny, so it made me laugh. And so it really kind of released this like tension that I already had. And so if you're listening, Justin, I caught his name Justin later on because of his name tag. And then he was talking to the girl next to me who had a cute ass baby. So I caught his name, Justin. If you were listening, if you did find my podcast, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate your personality. I don't think I've ever met a flight attendant who was as kind as you were and as funny, just engaging with the people on the plane, which I thought was amazing. So after we just had a little bit of conversation in the very beginning when I was going to get to my seat, so after he asked me about my sweatshirt, he asked me about my Molly doll, because I always carry Molly with me. She's from the Big Comfy Couch. I told him that. He had no idea what I was talking about, and he's like, well, I'm going to come ask. We have 2 hours. I'm going to come ask about it. So then later on, he asked me about it, about what show it was, and he had never heard of it before. He's a bit older than me, so I don't know if he was in that time of, I don't even know. If anyone watching or listening knows what the Big Comfy Couch is, please let me know. But I have the doll Molly. My sister has Lunette, and I always take Molly wherever I go, if I'm traveling especially. So fast forward a little bit. He came over and asked me about it. We talked. And then later on, when him and the other flight attendant came through with the beverages, which this was Allegiant, and any other plane I've ever been on, whether it's Allegiant or Southwest or any other airplane name, I can't even think of what that would be called, but there would always be free snacks and drinks. Like you could get a water for free, you could get pop and juice. They would give you pretzels or whatever little snack that they had. You don't have to pay for it. Well, this time you did. It was $3 for a water bottle, which, I mean, I guess if you go to a vending, it's like maybe $2.50, but I believe it was $3. And then you had to pay for whatever snack you wanted. And I just was not used to that. So when they came over asking me, he asked if I wanted something to drink. I said water. And then he said it would be $3. And I'm like, what? Really? And I was like, no, I don't want one then, because I didn't want to dig out. Well, first of all, I don't want to dig out my card or my cash. Secondly, I just didn't see, I'm trying to save more money currently, and I just didn't see a real need to do that. So I just kindly said, no, thank you. And he's like, oh my, are you sure? And I said, yeah. And so they went about giving the other people in my aisle their drinks and snacks. And I just put my headphones on, and I honestly started to tear up. Like I started to cry. I don't know. These days I cry at anything and everything, but I think I just was thinking about how thirsty I was, and I just felt, I don't know how to explain it. It was just like this pit in my stomach, and I don't know. I started to tear up. It is what it is. That's what happened. And I don't think he saw that because he was a bit behind me, but I was, and I put on my headphones, was listening to my music, and they were moving back. And then all of a sudden I feel next to me, like on my seat, this like felt like something touched me. I just felt something on my side, and I look, and it's the water bottle, and he was sliding the water bottle in between like my seat and the lady next to me in like on my hand armrest thing. And I looked at him, I'm just like, and he just gave me this look of like, here you go. Not, I feel bad for you, but just kind of a gesture of like, he maybe felt bad because I had to pay and I wasn't going, I don't know, whatever it was. But yeah, so I said thank you, and I just was shocked. I was like, oh my gosh, thank you. And that meant a lot. Just that kindness and little gesture of giving and of being kind meant the world. So Justin, if you're listening, thank you so much. It meant a lot. And you keep doing you on planes and engaging, interacting with customers, and you're hilarious. So that's that. I just wanted to give a little shout out to him, and just goes to show the importance of being kind and giving, and just a little gesture can go a long way in someone's life and you might not even ever know. Moving on to the things you can do on a plane. And first, I'm going to quickly explain this experience that I had a few years ago. It was probably like 2 or 3 years ago. I can't remember exactly. But I was in an airplane, no idea if I was going to a place or coming back home. And to some people, this might seem ridiculous that this is something that has like made an impact in my life. It might seem like it's not a big deal and that I'm exaggerating, but y'all, I don't even care what you think. It was scary. Okay, so coming from someone who already has a fear of death, it's a real thing. It's now become a lot more worse, especially after this experience. But we were in the airplane and it was just really, really bad turbulence. But when it happened, it was a lot. And I tried just focusing, I don't remember what I was doing, but I was trying to just not focus on the turbulence, and I couldn't help it but focus on the turbulence. And there were a few times when the plane like dropped a lot, like dropped a little bit and was moving side to side. And honestly, everyone else around me, and okay, not everyone, because some people were super chill, and I was looking around just like, how are you so chill right now? Like they were just sitting there or just reading. Like it just seemed like it was nothing to them, and maybe they were used to it. I don't know. But there was a lot of other people around me who were also scared, like minorly freaking out. And a couple people, I didn't do this, but a couple people like screamed. Okay, not screamed, but like had freak out little, I don't know what you would call it, but they did. And so I wasn't the only one I was low key freaking out, but some people were showing it a bit more. So it made me feel better that like I wasn't the only one. I felt it in like my stomach and in my heart. It like I was fearful for my life. Like I was legit feared that we were going down. Like I thought something real bad was going to happen. And I was seriously thinking that this is where my life's going to end. So I was so scared. And after that happened, it was like all I could think about. And then anytime when I went on a plane, it was all that I could think about, and just fearing turbulence, and then just imagining things going wrong, and seriously imagining worst case scenario, which I need to get out of my head about doing that, but I do. And so after that event, I had a couple times where I found myself like randomly freaking out before the plane. Like I would get through security, and a part of it was leaving family. Like I remember the next time I went on a plane, or the next couple times I went on a plane, I was sad to leave my family, and I cried, and it was just sad. But last time when this happened, I felt like I was okay. Like I cried, it was sad leaving my grandma and the family, but then I was okay, like going through security. And then all of a sudden, when I went to go take a seat near the gate, I just felt this feeling that I couldn't even describe. And I don't even know what to label it as. Like, I don't know if it was anxiety, if it was just super sadness from leaving my family. Like, I can't really pinpoint or label what that would be called. But I remember it was kind of hard to breathe. Not hard to breathe, but I think I just had quick breaths, or it just was different. Like it was not calm breathing or normal breathing. And then I just randomly started crying again. And I was worried to get on the plane because of, again, the turbulence and from what happened before. And so in that moment, I just was like, okay, I need to do something to help this, to just kind of combat this. And so what I'm about to share now are things that I tried at that moment, that time when I was in that plane, and then also things I did this last time when I was on the plane, as well as things that some friends and family have told me that they've done. And not only did I want to share this because this happened in my life recently and I want to share those tips, but the holiday season is a time where a lot of people travel. And even if it's not the holiday season and you're listening to this, if you do travel, then this will still be relatable to you. But I know at this time, people are flying or soon after the new year, maybe traveling to a family or visiting someone or going on vacation. So I thought this was a pretty good time to talk about it. At the end of this, I'm going to also share something that I learned about myself and something I wanted to share in case anyone else feels the same way that I did. So stay tuned for that. Quickly, the sweatshirts, the Flow with the Girls sweatshirts, if you ordered one, they're done as of before I went to Florida, but I was not in South Dakota, so I couldn't go get them. So I'm going to, actually the day that this is released on Tuesday, I will be in Brookings and I will be picking those up and delivering them to you. If I'm shipping them to you, if we've already talked about that I'm shipping it to you, then those will be going out soon and you'll get a message from me saying when I did ship it out and when you can expect it. So just wanted to throw that out there. Very excited for you guys to get them and to start wearing them. Honestly, I have never had so many comments and questions about this sweatshirt. People say they want to read it and then they ask me about it and then we have conversation, which is pretty cool. I've had some people say that they're going to listen to it or they're going to look it up or that they should. Don't know if they actually do or not, but still pretty cool. Walking billboard. It's amazing. Okay, number 1. The first thing that I did was breathe. I focused on my breathing. I became conscious and aware of my breathing. And this is something that I catch myself actually doing day to day. I notice that I will take short breaths or I won't breathe. I don't know. I will breathe, but it's like I'm not really utilizing my diaphragm and not focusing on my breath. And so I try and do this whenever I'm aware of this. But in those moments of when I'm feeling anxious or nervous or even just practicing this before I go on the plane and on the plane is to breathe through my nose, big deep breath, and I feel my diaphragm and my stomach expand. So push out. And then I exhale. And I either do this through my nose or through my mouth. And I exhale slowly and I feel my diaphragm and stomach contract. So go in. And then I repeat. So I do this slowly and I really think about the breath going in, my stomach moving and expanding out, and then my breath going out and my diaphragm and stomach going in. This helps to calm, slow down the nervous system, and it brings me to a calm. And I'm putting my focus on my breath rather than the thoughts in my head. Number 2, the second thing that I did was listen to music, and I put together a playlist on Spotify called Airplane. So I put on songs that either I really enjoy listening to, or they were calming type music or songs. And there were also songs that people recommended to me that I had never heard of before. And so then just listening to that music and also at the same time, maybe doing that breath work. Number 3 is to journal. And when I first started doing this, I didn't realize the impact it would have or how it changed, how it helped me to not focus on my thoughts and to really just bring me to a calm. And I never realized how much it would help. So when I journal, I just journal and write down whatever comes to mind. I just want to get out anything and everything. It could be what I'm feeling. It could be what I'm going to do when I get home. It could be things that I'm grateful for. And then it also could be the things that I'm not trying to think about, but just come to mind. So maybe clouds pop into my mind. So I'll write clouds. Maybe I see someone walking and they have a cool shirt. Like I'll write that down. Even if it's mid phrase or a sentence of something else completely different. But this also brings your subconscious thoughts to the forefront and getting those out. And it's just very freeing, kind of. It's hard to explain, but like I said, I just write anything and everything that comes to my mind. Even if it's a topic or something that I wasn't planning to write on or write about, something completely different than what I'm writing about. It could be affirmations. It could be what you're feeling in the moment. It could be how you're wanting to feel. Like it can be really anything that you want to write about. And then I got to a point where I would work on my breath while listening to music, while journaling at the same time. Number 4, this is something that a Facebook friend of mine recommended, and it's something that I don't know, I never really thought about before, even though I see people doing it, but that's to download a episode of whatever show that you like to watch. So downloading an episode on Netflix or Hulu or Amazon, or maybe it's a movie, whatever, just downloading that and watching something instead of maybe listening to music. Number 5 would be listening to a podcast. When I listen to a podcast, it gets my mind focused on whatever they're talking about, and I can learn something, or maybe I just want to listen to something funny or inspiring. But make sure to download the movie, make sure to download the podcast, make sure also download the music that you want to listen to. I learned this the hard way. So when I listen to something on Spotify, or when you listen to something on Spotify, maybe you already know this, but I didn't. So maybe there's someone out there that has no idea, but you need to be on Wi-Fi to download the music on Spotify. At least for me. Like if I'm not on Wi-Fi, I can't download music or have it be downloadable. I have it be downloaded to Spotify. So have to be on Wi-Fi, download the songs or the playlists or albums or whatever it is that you want downloaded on Spotify for whatever you want to listen to on the plane. Because then when you are in airplane mode or you don't have that Wi-Fi, you can go on to Spotify and the downloaded music is there. And when you download podcast episodes, you can do it even if you're not on Wi-Fi. There should be the 3 little lines that you can click and it says download or download episode. And even if you follow an episode, I found that sometimes episodes download automatically. So I don't know exactly how that works, but if you want to make sure that an episode is downloaded for you to listen to, just click on there's 3 lines and then it says download episode. Someone said, and I thought this was pretty cool, I pray for the pilots and for a calm, safe flight. I thought that was pretty cool. Like just to say a prayer, to just think in your mind and to send that love to the pilots and to just have a calm, safe flight. And I think that can also create calm and a different perspective and mindset automatically. And going back to the music and podcasts and episodes that you download, to have noise canceling headphones. And I do find that makes a huge difference. I have bigger Bose headphones, and they're over the ear headphones, and it makes a difference. They're noise canceling, and I can just focus on the music or the podcast or whatever it is I'm listening or watching. And then lastly, I want to share this quick little story, and then that someone on my Facebook said, and a tip within that. So she said that she has horrible flying anxiety, and okay, that's funny. Her solution is to just drive, which yes, maybe some people are super terrified of flying and they just drive. I know there's many people that do that. But she said the last time she flew was about 4.5 years ago, and she was seated apart from the people she went with, and the person seated next to her was from Pakistan, and he was worried that she was scared because he thought that she was thinking that he was a terrorist. And that's sad that was a thing. And she assured him that was not the case and told him that she was terrified of flying. And she said that he engaged in such wonderful conversation that her anxiety almost disappeared. So I think that I know some of us, we don't want the people to talk to us. Maybe they'll talk to you and you don't want them to talk to you. Or maybe you're someone that you like having conversation, or you'll be the one to start up conversation. So I think having conversation can also help diminish that anxiety and that fear, because you're focusing on the conversation with the person and you are talking about, other things. And so that's also maybe a tip, is just to engage in conversation, to bring it up to the person next to you, or maybe you're flying with someone, whatever it may be. So there were about 7 tips there, tactics, things that you can do to keep your mind off of all the worst case scenarios of flying in a plane. And by the way, I know that, and I've heard the fact that being in a plane is safer than being in a car driving. But the reality for me is that does nothing for me. It doesn't, I know this, but it doesn't do anything, because if something goes wrong with the plane, you are SOL. There's really nothing that you can do when it starts to go down. You are just fucked if that were to happen. So that concept does nothing for me. And if you've had a bad experience, you're also probably well aware that does nothing for you as well. If you have any other tips or things that you have done, feel free to reach out to me and let me know. I would love to know for the next time I fly, which is going to be in February for a bachelorette party. So let me know of any tips or things that you do. I just also thought of another one, and that would be to color, have a coloring book. Maybe I have to try that next time. Okay. You can find me on Instagram at Sophia_Dawn41. That's SOPHIA_DAWN41. Send me a DM. Let me know your thoughts on that. Lastly, this is something I just thought about yesterday and the day before when I flew back, and actually the day before I flew back. And I've been kind of thinking about it a lot lately. So being gone as much as I have been from my home base and from having a routine, I was getting homesick, super homesick. And not just from Kiana, because I was gone for a few days without her, and that was hard, but just homesick of not being at my home base, not having a routine, not focusing on my lifting program, not focusing on the foods that I was eating as much. I'm serious when I say I have not been eating nutrient-dense food. It's been burgers and pizza and donuts and cookies and some fruit here and there. Really no salad. I had maybe a small salad when I was in Florida, but going out to eat a lot. Yeah, so just kind of everything, not being in that routine, I've just felt really homesick. And I found myself telling Kiana that I just felt homesick. And then I found myself worrying that I was sounding ungrateful. And I even said that to her. I was like, I don't want it to sound like I'm ungrateful, but that's just how I'm feeling. And I am super grateful. Just know that I don't want to sound like I'm complaining, because I'm trying not to complain when I am talking about this, but I am so grateful for the opportunity to be able to do these things, to have the flexibility and more freedom to go on that 10-day road trip with Kiana, to see the freaking amazing views that we saw, and to hike, and to be able to go to Florida and be with my grandma for a few days. I'm so grateful for all of that. I'm grateful that I can do those things. But everyone is different when it comes to travel. I have learned that just like everyone is different with how they have their routine, with how their bodies react to different foods, we all have our own ways of doing things. We all like to do different things. We all have different hobbies. Let me just tell you that we all deal with travel differently. Some of us love to travel and some of us don't. Some people do really well with being on the road all the time and not really being at an apartment or home. Some people, that's what they do, is have an RV or a camper or whatever it is, and that's where they live. Some people go live in a different country for a little bit. Some people will maybe just take shorter trips, like what I usually do. And I love doing those things, but after it's been about 2 weeks, maybe a week and a half, I am ready to be home, to be in my own bed, to get back to a routine, to focus on my health. I know that I could have worked out. I could have found gyms. I could have focused more on the foods I ate. But you know what? Truth is I chose not to. I didn't. Normally I would maybe do like a DVD workout on the road or in a hotel or when I was with my grandma, or maybe I would go for a run, or maybe I would do a home workout, like a body weight workout if I didn't have weights. Maybe I would go to like the place I stayed in Florida with my grandma. There was a fitness center, but I chose not to do that. And I'm okay with that. Like I realized that I chose not to do that. So personally, after about a week and a half, I'm just ready to be home. And I want you to know that if you start to feel homesick, that's valid. You feeling that way is valid. It doesn't make you ungrateful. It doesn't make you a complainer. It's just how you were made. Like, it's just you being true to who you are. It is your authentic self. And it's okay for you to say that you're homesick and that you are ready to be home. And for me, I remember when we were in Minnesota, me and Kiana, I actually kind of had a little breakdown. I started just crying because number one, I didn't want to leave her the next day. Number two, I was going to be in a plane. I was worried about that. But number three, I just was also so ready to just go back to my home base and be there for more than a day because it's been about a month or more since I've been here for a day or more consistently. So I had that little breakdown and I just was, tired and homesick. My body can feel it. I just had a moment of overwhelming feelings of sadness a little bit. And I just wanted to say that. So if you're someone who you can relate and maybe you feel like it's not valid or you felt bad for feeling that way, just know that it is valid and it is okay for you to feel that way and you are not alone because I am right there with you. And I think that during the holiday season, if you are traveling with people traveling, like it can become a thing for sure. So take what you need from this episode, apply what you need from this episode, and I appreciate you. I love you. And as always, I hope you have a great rest of your day, night, week, weekend. Bye for now. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Flow with the Grow. I'll see you next week for your daily dose of positivity and growth.